Welcome back to the UOL Tournament Organizer training videos. I said that the fourth video was going to be the last for the launch section, and just wanted to add in some final notes about some league maintenance stuff once you get the league actually launched. So, one thing you want to do once the league has begun, you're going to want to go to your format channel, ping the role, and tell the players a couple bits of information that are really helpful. So you're going to want to tell them how many players signed up, how many rounds there are going to be, and when the round ends. So rounds are one week long. Players have a week to get their matches in. So you want to tell them when that deadline is. Then for your other things, so for this league, I was a little bit bad about getting the deck lists and the pairings up on the website, so I just had the round one pairings pinned in the league channel. But I did end up getting the deck list and pairings on the website later. And I also gave the players access to the ugly deck list dump. That is the Google Sheets auto-generated sheet of your league sign-up form. And then access to the match results form for winter season. And then as you can see, for some of my later pairings, I've cleaned up my pins a little bit. So this is the round 4 pairings. As you can see, reminder for any league problems, yell at the tournament organizer. Match pairings are the round pairings are posted on the website. And some other information that's good to let them know. I have these permanently pinned in my channel. I don't expect the players to always read these, but they are there reminders for both them and myself. I had to crack down on match result form submissions because I'd have players who they played, they wouldn't post a results form, and then I'd post pairings. They'd be like, hey, we played, why are these wrong? And I'd be like, there's no form. So I had to crack down on them for that. That is why that block of text is there. Usually just the winner submitting is good enough. Reminding them to have both players submit is always a good fallback. But that is my cranky, y'all don't tell me your match results, so I'm just going to give you pairings pin. Right above that, we have some more reminders of when rounds end, how long the round is. And for this league, we had 6 rounds with a cut to a top 8. The full league rules are in the FAQ channel. Those are very good to remind your players of because those are the rules we hold the league to. And even though players don't always read all of them, they are the rules. They are expected to know them. And so that is how the leagues are run. This pin is a reminder that for awarding wins and IDs, the players need to DM their opponents. Pinging in the league channel is not enough to guarantee communication because we've had issues in the past where players have pinged each other in the channel. They've never actually communicated or set a time, but they pinged each other and thought that was good enough for communication. That is not good enough to guarantee that a player who was making an effort by pinging actually managed to communicate with their opponent in regards to awarding a win or a draw for the round. One final thing, you can tell your players to go to the Dino Talk channel to give themselves the format rank. That is the format, that is the role that you are going to ping for league announcements, pairings, top 8 for, etc. All that fun stuff. Now, how do you know how many rounds you have and whether you're going to be cutting to a top 4 or a top 8? Well, over here on the lovely MTR website in Appendix E, you can find this just by Googling, or you can see the lovely URL all the way up at the top, are the recommended numbers of rounds for Swiss tournaments, which is the format that we run. So you'll see over here, you have 9 to 16 players is 5 rounds, 17 to 32 is 5, and above 32 is 6. I can't say that I've ever seen a league where we hit over 64 players, so you're generally not going to hit 7 rounds. Usually it's either 5 or 6. If you are running a 9 to 16 player tournament, I think we generally aim for at least 14 players before we're ready to fire a league. So you're going to have around 12 to 16 players. You'll have a 5-round league, and then a cut to top 4. If you have over 16, you are going to have 5, and over 32, you're going to have 6 rounds. And both of these are going to have a cut to top 8. So this document is where we get our numbers for whether we're doing 5 rounds or 6 rounds, and whether we're cutting to top 4 or top 8. So that's where you get your information from when you're telling players at the beginning of the round how many rounds you're going to have and whether you're cutting to a top 8 or a top 4. One final thing for good housekeeping, make sure you pin your pairings for each round to the channel, and make sure to label your documents. So if I just post this, yes, it's got this here from Google, but this is not descriptive enough. These are Magic players. They read, but they don't. So you need to label your pins. You can see here, this has more than enough to constitute a label. And then this one says it's the ugly deck lists, which is all the atrocious Google Sheet auto-generated form. And then here, the match results form, I like to put what league we're in as well for my pins. It'll say it in the form, but generally just helps with confusion. And then one other final thing. I've said there's one more final thing a couple times, bear with me. For the final round, this right here is in the league rules document in the FAQ channel. But for IDs, top players like to do that to secure their top 8 or top 4 spot. If they are going to ID, they have 48 hours from final round pairings posting to do so. This is just to prevent players from waiting on other matches that could affect their standings before they decide that they want to play it out or ID. So that is a good thing to remind your players of in the final round. It's also good to remind them of what the deadline is for that round. It's good to remind them of the deadline every week. But you can see here, because of the new year and how awful 2020 was, I gave them an extension to next Monday instead of Sunday night, because I was late on the pairings and also New Year's. But that is a good thing to remind your players of. Is there anything else helpful here? We will get to your top 8 later, and pairings and all that stuff in another video.